Oklahoma began the 2016 legislative session this week facing a budget hole expected to top $1 billion, while teachers have gone more than 7 years without an across-the-board pay raise. Governor Mary Fallin cited those challenges as she called for bold action to change the way the state does business. But after the first week of the session, it's already clear many of the governor's proposals will run into major opposition.
In her State of the State address, Governor Fallin called on lawmakers to revamp Oklahoma's budget process and change how Oklahoma pays for core functions like education. Her plan to fix the budget shortfall involves elimination of certain tax deductions, exemptions, and credits. That includes taxing services that have long gone untaxed in Oklahoma. Though which services would be taxed was left unspoken. State Finance Secretary Preston Dorflinger says that is by design.
If I revealed the specific areas, that rotunda would be full of constituency groups screaming and crying to protect their specific exemption.
Already this week, a Senate committee has killed a bill to rein in tax incentives while passing out a measure creating a new sales tax exemption for a veterans group. Dorflinger acknowledged removing tax exemptions and credits and increasing the cigarette tax by $1.50 a pack is likely to be difficult, requiring supermajorities in both the House and Senate. But he says the alternative is catastrophic cuts to government services.
You guys have heard me use the words efficiency and effective a million times over the years. I'm still going to preach it. But the thing about efficiency is you can become less efficient if you cut too deep.
Legislative leaders agree many of the governor's proposals will test the political will of lawmakers. House Minority Leader Scott Inman expressed outrage that the governor would suggest removing tax exemptions while supporting an income tax cut that took effect January 1st.
She rolls out a tax plan that doesn't roll back the tax cuts or the tax credits that she had offered up that put us into this mess. Instead, she chooses to shift the tax burden from those folks in Oklahoma who can best afford it to the poorest and some of the middle-class families in Oklahoma.
House Speaker Jeff Hickman acknowledged getting Republicans to agree to tax hikes would be a tough sell, but admits there aren't many other options.
We have, the last couple of years, particularly last year, pulled every last rabbit out of every last hat to do things like not cut education, which we didn't do last session, to make this budget work, to set priorities and make this budget work. But we're not only out of rabbits, we're out of hats.
On the subject of education, the governor put forth her plan to address Oklahoma's critical teacher shortage.
This budget appropriates $178 million in new money for a permanent $3,000 teacher pay raise for every teacher in the state. And we can do it without raising the state sales tax to the rate that would be the highest in the nation.
Fallin's plan would pay for teacher pay raises through the increase in cigarette sales taxes and cuts in other education spending. Senate Minority Leader John Sparks called that a distraction, which gives teachers false hope.
The cigarette taxes are dwindling revenue sources. That's a short-term fix at best. But she also offered that up as a substitution for the 1-cent sales tax. That substitution fails across the board. The money provided to teachers is inadequate. There's no money for higher ed. There's no money for career tech.
The governor also suggested education savings could be achieved by consolidating administrative duties of some elementary schools with larger districts, a plan that is already drawing criticism. Ryan Owens is co-chair of the Cooperative Council for Oklahoma School Administration.
As an association, we won't support it because there's no evidence it improves student achievement or saves money for schools. And those two issues, student achievement or cost savings, should be what drives these types of decisions, not politics.
Oklahoma Education Association President Alicia Priest believes consolidating school superintendents could actually cost districts money.
If we look at our rural schools especially, our superintendents are also a bus driver, a maintenance guy, they substitute in a classroom, they coach a sport. So they're doing multifaceted jobs. If we did administrative consolidation for school districts or for a county, you're still going to have somebody to do those jobs at each of those local levels.
Priest also objects to the governor's support for education savings accounts, which are a form of vouchers for students to attend private schools using public money.
What it does, it strips money away from our public schools that are already starved and sends those taxpayer dollars to a private institution.
Owens adds there is no evidence education savings accounts improve student performance.
What you will find is student achievement in private schools is actually not any better than student achievement in public schools. What you'll find is a lot of evidence of fraud and abuse.
Owens says he's looking forward to talking with the governor about her ideas to increase teacher pay and fund education, but says right now her plan is, in his words, heavy on politics and light on substance.